I know.
Hello, everyone.
Hey!
Hello.
You seem extra bright today.
It's less blurry than it was a second ago.
I'm looking real good on camera.
Welcome to Hide Back That Kickstarter with Gloryhoundd.
DrGloryhogg.
Greg Dickson.
And let's see here. So YouTube comments are not working. I don't know what's
No?
going on with
Oh, no,
it.
that's
Super
Twitch.
angry pants.
Just
Twitch
kidding.
comments are working today.
So Alan asked a very important question. Did I have sugar today? I've had an energy drink, salt and pepper pistachios, and chili dried mangoes. And that's it. That's all I've eaten today. So I am ready for this.
but I am watching YouTube, so we can go ahead and get those comments in there if you can't switch over to Facebook or Twitch or anything like that. Welcome for everybody joining us. Okay. So we have 4 Kickstarters to talk about today.
You're straight up breaking things, dude.
Oh, my God. Sometimes I don't even know why I bring him sometimes. So
How many monsters did you have this morning?
right from the top, have not backed any of these. Ooh,
You will.
That's interesting. Okay, all right. Well, then let's get started.
Alan is skeptical.
I know, right?
He's monitoring 1 or 2. That means he's buying 1 or 2 today.
Today.
What are we starting with?
First up, we have One Small Step. This is
One
by
small
Academy.
step for man, one giant leap for mankind. You're welcome. I watched that one time.
This is by Academy Games. It's for 2 to 4 players. It's going to last about 60 minutes, and it costs $65 out of the gate here. This is a space race game where you're playing
65.
where you're playing the Russians or the Americans, and you're trying to get to the moon first. It's a worker placement game and not a deck building, right? It's deck building.
It's a team
It
game,
is
too.
team play,
So
yeah.
it's kind of interesting.
Which I also thought it was really interesting in the fact that with your team play, you're like also blocking your team
You
members
have to
and
be
other
careful
players.
where you play, or you could block that region.
And that's
from
not the type of team game I want to play, Alan.
I feel like this is like a super cutthroat
I like
game,
that you're going directly to Alan.
which I guess like Space Race, I guess it would be cutthroat, right?
Yeah, it's you either get to the moon first or you don't.
Base.
There was no second place.
One small step in funding.
That's why Stanley Kubrick staged it all. I mean,
what this game needs is a way to assassinate the other workers like we probably did in real life.
whoa.
By
It-
cosmonauts.
We're going straight down the conspiracy alley here.
It was all conspiracy. We never landed on the moon.
Where's my... Oh, I left my
It was
tinfoil.
Kubrick. It was
I
Kubrick
left
the whole
my-
time.
I already made the Kubrick joke. You missed it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I
You're
missed
late.
some-
We also
Missed a
have on
lot of-
And
YouTube.
I left my tinfoil hat in my other
On
pants.
YouTube, we have Vincent, Kabuki Kid, and Magenta Lizard joining in as
Oh,
well.
a
But what
lot
are you-
of
what are
our
you doing right
regulars.
now?
I'll read it.
Oh my God, I was
Huh.
reading it.
Dice Tournament Adventures broke your bank. Same here.
God. All right. So overall, what are you guys thinking about this one?
So this is Academy Games. I think you mentioned that already.
Right.
They've got a huge track record. I mean, they've been making games for a long time. And they've been making historical games for a long time. Viking games. I think they have the Freedom the Underground Railroad game. I don't know if they came out with that one or if they like got the
There's like a
license at some
republishy
point
sorta
or
thing.
whatever, but they're kind of known for these sort of historical games. So if this is your bag, like historical games, they're kind of known for it and they do it right. So I mean, that's the first thing that I noticed was, oh, this isn't some new Kickstarter, new company. This is an established game company that does historically themed games all the time. Like this is their wheelhouse. So if this is your wheelhouse,
Space
this is a fairly safe bet.
At first, I was like, well, why would you want that sort of cutthroatedness in a game like this? I'm like, it's worker placement. But then I was like, but it's a space race. So
Fits
yeah,
the
that
theme.
actually makes a lot of sense
you
now
can't
that I
let
think
the
about it.
communists win.
Now-
That's why.
Well, and it's a team play too, so it's not like one
Here's-
person wins, one team wins.
Hold on though.
Makes it a little less
With team
cutthroat,
play,
maybe.
one of you plays the engineer and one of you plays the administrator. How do you deal with that situation? You're like, you know what, Dr. Gloryhogg, why don't you be my administrator? Like,
Well, is the administrator in charge? I
How-
think that's like the boss.
How is that different than in real life? You try to give me tasks all day.
I think she would be the administrator
like-
and the engineer,
look at
honestly.
okay.
She's like,
So,
join
the
Monday.com
engineer-
so I can send you tasks every day.
There's the engineer right there,
Yeah.
all professional, like building stuff and
He's got
everything.
his clipboard.
Yeah, and then like there's the administrator who looks like they're on
They got
a
good stuff.
call for like.
So
Would you like to buy these wonderful dishes?
So
I
you're
mean,
imagining them as like
We're peaking really high.
they're like calling, doing robocalls, going like, "Can you give us some donations
know,
to our
right.
space race, please?"
yeah, a
Right.
total robocall.
All right, give me a second here, guys. Is all the popping and stuff happening on my mic, the important one, or?
Well, I turned it down.
She turned it down. I think we're good now. We're all in the green.
Yeah, maybe we'll just,
Hopefully.
yeah, because they're saying popping because I'm getting that from YouTube too,
Okay.
but not like
Oop.
popping and
She
locking.
turned it down. No, not like you were doing before the camera went live.
All right. What? But how do you resolve that?
How do you resolve what? Like who picks what? Just
I don't
boom.
think
think
it's
so?
Okay,
that
you're
big
that
of
guy
a-
and that guy.
It's a big deal to me. I don't want to be the administrator. I want to
I
be
think
the
the
engineer.
administrator actually means like the boss, doesn't it? He's like calling the shots. He's on the headset.
Not usually, but I mean, now they can't hear Greg or myself.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Hello? Hello? We're registering on the thing. Can you hear me now? I feel like
Here comes one of those commercials.
I'm in an ad for Nextel.
Everybody is on and
They should be able to hear us.
good. I can go to the.
So Kabuki's saying that
Could
it's
Kabuki-
good that like there's no more popping, but then like maybe they can't actually hear us.
Are we like too quiet now?
Go ahead,
Hello, hello. I'm here. I'm talking. Can you hear me?
Dr. Gloryhogg.
We did like a whole bunch of like
Yeah,
mic
we
changing
totally
today.
did a
We tested
huge
the
thing
mic
of
for like
mic
12
check.
minutes before we
Yeah,
started.
Ben can hear everyone. Maybe YouTube is just being a punk
Alan,
today.
Alan,
Maybe.
put your ear, put your hearing aids in. Alan.
Oh, don't be mean to Alan.
No, I think YouTube is just
Alan's
being
my
messed
number
up.
one
If you
fan.
guys want to come over to Facebook or to Twitch, on Facebook we're at Gloryhound Presents.
Someday we're gonna look back at this moment in streaming and laugh. Like everything's gonna be so user friendly at some point.
I freaking
Well,
hope
at
so.
5 years from now, we're gonna be like, remember when we couldn't like line them all up at the
Here's
same
the
time?
deal. Within
and-
5 years, Disney's
know what I
gonna
mean?
own Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, so it'll just be like one thing.
Leo
true.
says when he turns the sound off, he strangely can't hear anyone. So, I mean,
I've had that issue with the monitor. If I turn
Yeah.
it off, I'm just
please
like,
help.
"What? Blind." I like how my dog is just like on his back. He's on my feet, but he's just like up in the air like
He's
this.
like, pet me. What are you doing that's more important than
No,
petting
he's
All right,
that
on
space
belly
race,
right
guys.
now?
Focus, space race.
He's
Yes,
like straight up
yes.
dies
race.
because
Well,
of
To
the
the
what else,
moon.
what else
Let's
do we
do
want to say
this.
about it? It's a good pedigree, right? You can buy some of their prior games with some of these pledge levels, which is pretty cool. If you miss out on some of those and you're excited about them, you know, it's.
The thing is, though, are you excited about it, though? That's the thing.
I'm not excited about it, but I do think that if you want this kind of game, like this is a company you can trust to do a good implementation of this theme.
Like, and that's the sad thing is I don't know if they didn't present it in the right way or what, because it seems like there's a lot of really good things about this game
Yeah.
with having the worker placement portion of it, and then you're also collecting sets and everything of cards, and then you're trying to get to the moon, and it's very cool how they have that orbit going around there and stuff, and whoever gets there first wins. But I'm not really excited about this game, and I'm thinking of the other space games that we've looked at within the last year, and like I can't figure out why I'm not super excited
There's another
about
game
it.
that I think it's coming out of Gen Con called Space Explorers. I got a chance to play. It's kind of a Splendor-ish kind of engine builder, tableau building one.
Yeah, we have that.
That
here.
one's out.
Oh, you guys have that one?
Yeah,
I
that
thought it was
one's
Gen
out.
Con.
I thought that one was
Oh,
out.
maybe it was Origins.
Yeah, it was
Maybe I'm thinking
Origins.
Origins.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played that one.
You played that one?
Yeah.
With
It's
that sort
good.
of 50s
Yeah, I like it.
style
It's good.
like
Yeah, it's
look
got
to
like a
it. No, it
retro
is
look.
really good.
And I think one thing that game does better than this one is it's like it's nice looking. Like the art is cool. It really has that retro vibe. This looks very I don't know, it just doesn't grab me. The look of it doesn't grab me.
Yeah, and I don't know.
But I think mechanically it's probably going to be very
Very
sound.
sound, right?
Absolutely. I would not discourage
Yeah.
people from backing this if this theme appeals to them.
you can put things into orbit and stuff like that.
Oh, I agree, Alan. Space Explorers is not the same game. I was just
No,
comparing
not
the
at
like
all.
the look of them. Like Space Explorers right off the bat, you're like, this looks cool. This looks retro. Like I feel immersed in the theme. This doesn't feel that
Dr.
way.
Gloryhogg
to
is
me.
so like not excited.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
What is it you don't like about you don't like science themed stuff?
So
or?
I like science things because like I liked epic
Okay.
STEM everything like
Oh
that.
right.
So for me, the most exciting thing about space is not the inky darkness of death. It is the aliens. So with me, like without aliens, I could care less about space. I like worker placements in general,
Okay.
but the theme has to get me. Champions of Midgard.
Okay.
What's the D&D
Asking
one?
for trouble. Oh, Tyrants of the Underdark.
Tyrants of the Underdark.
Oh,
or
you saying Lords of Waterdeep? Yeah,
Lords
yeah,
of
yeah.
Waterdeep.
Worker placement. Sorry.
Tyrants of the Underdark is another good one. I like the theme has to grab me to want to play. Asking for Troubles is another good one. Like the theme has to really grab me, and for me, just regular space history doesn't do anything for me. She likes it. She's visited NASA museums and stuff. I'll go, but I just doesn't super excite me. That's not my jam. I like biology. I don't really like space.
You can get satellite miniatures, though. Does that change your mind?
No, it doesn't.
Satellites.
I can't tell you how ugly our spaceships are. They are like the ugliest things ever.
Well, they're functional.
Even
I mean,
the Borg
they're
cube.
not designed by George Lucas.
Oh, what about
the Borg cube from Star Trek is more exciting than our spaceships, and it's a cube. It's a freaking cube.
Yeah, because it's presented in a cool sci-fi show. This is real.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
like real life.
Real
I don't
can't compete
play-
with cool fiction.
I don't play
Even-
board games to do real life. Like, I don't want to play Taxes the game. I want to play like some awesome game that's not based off real life.
So-
Deductions, the game.
Even
Yeah.
here, Kabuki Kid's saying, I'm a huge geek of space exploration, but I want to try this before I buy it. And I feel like that's kind of where I'm at with
It's
this,
also a
you
little
know?
pricey. 65's not free, you know?
It's not 40.
Yeah, I would not discourage people from trying this, though, because I've played some of the Academy Game games, and, I mean, I'm not like a fanboy of theirs, but what I've played has been really solid. I think they're a solid company that's continued to make quality stuff. They stay alive. They seem to be growing. So I would not dissuade people, but you're right. There's something about the presentation here or whatever.
It's
that-
just not like super
Plus-
catching me, but
I'm not a big team game guy either, because I feel like that just slows things down. Like, now you and I have to sit and deliberate for 5 minutes before we place our meeple, instead of me just placing my meeple on my turn and, like, we keep
I
moving.
know that's an issue with you and your fam. Like, you guys don't like that co-op as much.
Not as much. I think unless there's something they've designed into it to kind of speed things along. You know what I
Right.
mean?
and Alan says if it was $40, you'd probably back it, but
Yeah.
65 is a bit more.
Alan
You're
agrees
getting
with
some
me.
pretty
It's
cool
not-
looking
it's not free.
miniatures in there, and let's see here.
You know, you can see some gameplay of it. Board Game Spotlight did a video of it at on Wednesday, so
That's
2
true.
days ago. So if you want to see some gameplay of it, you were probably watching our Dice Throne Adventures gameplay, but they were doing one at the same time. It's worth checking out. I think for me, it's definitely anything that's space related that doesn't have aliens in it and cool like biology aspects and evolution things. It's a play before I buy for me because it's just a theme that I'm
Yeah.
not very interested in.
I'd want to try it first.
And for me,
as
this
well.
week I've got one clear winner, and then there's some other ones. There's another contender, and there's two that I'm kind of like, eh.
I assume if I played this, I would be impressed with it. But I
I'm
want
sure
to play
too.
it
I'm sure
first.
too because I mean the mechanics of it sound really great. It's just I don't know if the way it was presented that. No, they didn't win. Bad, I'll cry. They didn't. Once a game trends towards stimulation, it's less of an escape for me.
That's a
Okay,
good point.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Vincent says,
I think
what was
there's
it?
exceptions to that. I think like Memoir 44 and stuff are cool, even though they're kind of simulaty. But
Yeah,
I
I'm
I
with-
tend to agree. I tend to lean that way as well.
Yeah, I like things to be more fantasy based, not real life based, and that's just in general. Like,
But I love games where you're like running a company. You know what I mean? Or,
See,
or
I
you're
don't.
investing. Or
Like
you're,
smartphone?
Yes, which is all. Why, next week? When? Come on, guys.
it's out right
We're
now.
at Gen Con.
No, but when are we gonna?
We're at Gen Con.
Are we gonna play it again?
We gotta talk about it.
Oh, when we talk
We
about
gotta
it.
talk
Maybe
about it
maybe
on
the
this
week
show.
after that. Okay.
Don't shake
So-
my mic off.
Sorry,
Jeez.
sorry. It's just the one.
Greg, what'd you back that?
I'm going to pass on this one, but I
Dr.
would not dissuade others from trying it
Dr.
out.
Gloryhougg.
I'd have to play it to see if the mechanics and the gameplay itself is better than the theme. For me personally, I'm not. The theme just doesn't do it for
So
me.
the theme's an uphill battle for you.
Yeah, somebody's mic is staticky.
Hello.
I don't
is
know
it,
whose it
am I
is.
fuzzy? Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair.
So overall,
What
I
our
think
mics are
that. Well, I'm
The
going to
dog
turn everybody
chewing
down.
on a cable. What? We sat and tested these mics beforehand.
We super tested, guys. Sorry.
The game gods,
look,
the
like-
streaming gods are against us.
Greg is jumping into like way deep
Greg,
into yellow.
stop ruining your mic. Jesus.
I'm not doing anything. Look, I'm green. I'm green. I'm
Jesus.
straight up green. Green.
Is it when we're all talking at the same time?
We never do that. That's not this show.
All right. So overall, I think if you're interested in Euro style games, this is probably a good one to go with because you have like a historical theme with it. You have the Euro style game. You have kind of a little bit of cutthroatness, team play, which is awesome. What else?
You've got Academy Games. You've got a
Yeah, Academy
long-running
Games,
company that's
and they have decent like little minis that they're doing with the Kickstarter stretch goals and stuff in this, and there's a ton of people backing it. Like,
oh, it's doing great.
absolutely, it's doing fantastic right
super
now,
funded, yeah.
especially with all these other crazy Kickstarters that are going on. So I think if
Well,
this,
that's what I'm saying. This company, like, people trust this company. 'Cause
Yeah.
they've been making historical games, Viking games and war games and all kinds of historical games for years now.
if this is your jam, then like
If this is your jelly.
this is it. I would
Butter
go this
your
way,
bread.
but for me, I'm gonna have to try it before I buy it. So
Yeah, me too.
We haven't done the burrito comparison in a while, so we should switch to bread. Be like, if this is your jam, or if this butter's your bread, this is the
This
toast.
next
for
game
me.
is so hot it's toasted.
What is our next game?
I don't know. I'm just
This is a
assuming.
good call. Oh, this game is hot. This is $2 million
Trial by
hot.
Trolley.
So I did the math,
2
and
mil.
if this continues to be successful as it is, James Hudson's going to have all the money.
You mean
all the money.
Skybound? Skybound's gonna have all the
Well,
money.
Skybound. So I was watching the thing, and I see he's at the table playing it. I'm like, oh, that's cool that they like invited him to play. And then they're like, we've partnered up, and I'm like, whoa, Skybound just took it up a notch. 'Cause
So
this is
here's-
crazy successful.
So here's the thing. So Cyanide and Happiness, obviously their own entity. They have their own Joking Hazard, which is a good game. It's a party game.
yeah. I'm aware of it, but I haven't played it.
Yeah, so we actually have that game. It's very interesting. They're friendly enough with Skybound because even when I was at Skybound with PAX, they came up and they talked, and there was like a little bit of back and forth, and they were talking to James, they talked to Ben, and Skybound has got like this really cool like breadth of games where you go from stuff like as like kind of easy entry market as like Super Fight, all the way to stuff to like something like Tidal Blades, which is going to definitely like kind of gear more
Yeah.
towards hobby gamers. So it makes sense. Like this is a game that definitely is kind of more in their like kind of like light party or
Oh, yeah,
party
definitely
line.
very light.
Yeah, and Skybound is not afraid of controversial topics. I mean, they do Walking Dead, and that's for some people. Although it's a beloved franchise, for some people they're like, "Oh, zombies, I can't," or "Oh, it's too gory," or "Oh, it's too this," and they
Well,
hit
I
some
kinda-
really good themes.
I imagine Skybound would jump at the chance to partner up with this
Here-
IP. I mean, this
so-
is a hugely successful.
Well, right. So here's my favorite thing about this. I don't typically play a lot of party games. There's a few exceptions to that, of course. I really like Cyanide and Happiness's like little comics and stuff. Like
Yeah.
they're really funny. I usually can't share them because they're usually not very PC.
No,
but
and this video
they're-
does not shy away from that.
Right. So I really like their comics and like their style of art. It kind of reminds me of like that kind of like real minimalized like South Park art where you're like it's so minimalized it's ridiculous so
Yeah.
you don't get your feelings hurt by it.
Right.
But the ethical question that they're actually asking you in this is a good question.
Yeah, but they're making
You
kind
have
of
to do it.
They're making kind of light of
They-
something.
but they are.
of
But it's
dark topics though.
that ethical question is still there though. If you have to make that choice, and I love really tough ethical questions like that
I do.
because
Yes.
obviously with my background in the military and everything, some of
Yes.
those ethical questions come up. Like you can only choose
Yeah.
something. What would you do?
But I think if you're looking at this as like, hey, let's like get philosophical. This is not the game for you because this is making light of heavy topics rather than giving them the weight they should. For me, this is the sort of thing where you play with people who don't care if they're PC or not, and you'd have some laughs the first 3 or 4 times you play it. You know, you kind of turn off your like real world like sensibilities and just try to have fun with it. But then after a while, it'd be like, oh yeah, this card again. Oh yeah, the pedophile card. Oh yeah, like it feels like Cards Against Humanity where like it's just gonna wear out quickly.
I think though with this one is you're going to get a whole bunch of you're going to get a whole bunch of different combinations.
Oh,
though, because-
Trolley Tom is talking to us.
I love that. So first off, what they did with the campaign with Trolley Tom is pretty awesome. Like that's a really, really engaging way where you're getting asked these questions as it's going through Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Second thing is this one has enough modifiers and stuff that you're doing where you're like, oh, it's your best friend. But there's also, you know, young Hitler's there. Oh, but you're also going to kill a dog and a cat. Like there's enough weird modifiers there that like,
You think that would
Well,
give it replayability?
yes, because it's the combinations will be different every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
so
think I'd have a fun. I think I could have fun with this a few times, but it's not something. I mean, it's just like so many of these games, they kind of wear out their welcome fast. The shock value wears out quickly. you know?
overall, we all love the Cyanide and Happiness comics. Like
Yeah, they're
they're
fun.
freaking amazing. Okay. And we have the one game. What is it?
Joking
Hazard.
Yeah.
Which is a funny game. It's just a matter of how many. If you are looking for those types of games, this is probably going to be at the top of the list because
yeah.
it's something different than Cards Against Humanity. It's a little bit more interesting than Joking Hazard, which is more just like lots of jokes and like putting together cartoonish sort of things. This one does have you go through those choices of would you do this or would you do that, which adds a
Right.
little bit
So
of an
for-
aspect that I think that the other sort of games in that style
Right, because
don't have.
For me, I feel like the Cards Against Humanity, which this is going to be compared to that, is very much like how awful can I be as a person, right? And that's
Right.
fine. I mean, I'm ex-military. We've told awful jokes. I've seen awful things.
Yeah.
That's fine. That doesn't really personally bother me. But there's certain people you can't play it with. This one, the ethical dilemma makes a big difference. Now, it's presented in a humorous way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the core of it, the ethical question is very interesting to me personally. So if I had the choice between this or Super Fight or Cards Against Humanity, I would rather play this out of those. But that being said, most of the people I play with are people like in this room, which are hobby gamers. We don't play those types of games as much, but they are fun to have like at a
And
convention.
I don't mind edgy humor and stuff. I mean, I've laughed at all kinds of stand-up routines that get into some dark places and stuff. I don't mind that. I just feel like, is this going to just kind of wear out after a while, you know? Because
I like the ability of team play in this, though.
yeah, and I do like games like Snake Oil, where a big part of the game is the people bringing their sort of improv to it and kind of trying to sell you on their ideas. And
so, like,
I don't think this will be bad. I'm just saying that like it's not going to have staying power. You're going to play it a handful of times, have some laughs, and move on.
So
you know?
here's my opinion, right? Like I've already given it. So I've played most of Skybound's games are like this. They're card games, obviously, because I demoed their Super Fight, Red Flags,
yeah, you've worked their booths
and I did Pitchstorm, and I did all 3 of those. Super Fight's fun, pretty random, but you get to argue. Red Flags, it can be kind of saucy, obviously, because it's dates and horrible flags and stuff. It is. But for me, by far, my favorite is Pitchstorm because it is all improvisation. It's all improvisation. If you can't improvise and try to sell somebody on your movie pitch, then you're just going to fail. And that game inherently is all about the improvisation, and it's not PG, it's not rated R. It's kind of like it can be whatever you want it to be.
Your group decides, and I do prefer those games as well.
Like
Snake Oil is
like
another
that Snake
example.
Oil game,
Right, where you can choose to make it R-rated or X-rated with your friends if you want to, or you can keep it clean and play it with your kids or whatever.
The reason why I bring that up, though, is not just to tell you like which one's my favorite, which is Pitchstorm. The reason why I bring it up is there's always going to be gradations, I guess, or grades of games that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And so this is going to probably be either a huge hit or a big pass for you, just depending on how much you like this style of humor. And I think that's kind of what it comes down to. It's not something we can ignore, though. $2 million is not something that we can just not talk about.
Well, because they have this IP.
Right. Well, just can't not talk about it. So.
Yeah, no, understandably.
So on YouTube, Magenta Lizard's saying it wore out for me already, and Vincent is, my humor is dark and as dark as can be. So
yeah, I like
this
I said,
is a particular
I
style of
think
game
we'd
for
have
a
fun
particular
with it
crowd.
A few
I think so
times,
too.
I also think though that our overall viewers tend to be more on the hobby side of the things.
I think so
which
too.
Want more out of their game.
Serious note about the variety of questions. Each track has 4+ cards on it. The modifiers can be played on any character on the track, which makes it super variable and gives lots of agency.
But that's what I was trying to say. There's going to be so many variations that I don't feel like you'll hit the same thing.
Well, plus just playing with different types of people, they're going to bring their own style to their pitches and their arguments.
Plus,
and
look
stuff.
at these trolley tokens.
It is a cool production. It is a cool production.
Skybound makes great games, guys, and Cyanide and Happiness has amazingly funny jokes.
But they are on the darker side.
Yeah, I would pick this though over Cards Against Humanity.
Oh yeah.
You know,
there's
plenty of those. I'd pick this over Super Fight probably.
I haven't played that one, but
yeah. So like,
Super Fight's fun.
This feels like more of a game than Cards Against Humanity for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And you have more modifiers, and I do like the group mentality of you all working together to do something and explain something at the same time, because that can add its own big group of memories and like working together and everything with stuff. Like I really enjoy that.
It was like when we played Pitchstorm as teams, where it was like I picked the character,
Pitchstorm is great with
you
teams.
picked the scenario, and then we both had to pitch that immediately in like 45 seconds. That was a lot of fun.
There's all sorts of silliness that comes from that whenever you're not just all on your own trying to come up with those things, but also with somebody else. I think for $25, if you're in the market for a party game and you like party games, like this is a for sure win. Yeah, and you have like a little bit dark sense of humor. Yeah. So this would be a win.
Yeah, it's just got to fight. It's just got to be a good fit for your game group, and everyone's going to kind of have a different level of that. I bring Pitchstorm kind of with me everywhere because it's easy to play, and you can kind of play it with any group. We played it with our kid. We played it with your mom. We played it with everybody.
Same with Snake Oil. We played it with everybody, and everywhere we go with that game, everybody enjoys it.
I do prefer those games like Snake Oil where you can choose how explicit it is.
Right.
Instead of the games where it's like, here's an edgy card, laugh at our edgy card. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I don't know. Geek and Sundry played it, so... I don't know how edgy Geek and Sundry can be. Do you think they like tailored those cards for that?
Maybe. Sometimes you have to. But yeah, this is kind of almost a no-brainer. It's either your style of comedy or it's not, and you're going to either back it or not. Obviously, there's a huge market for this game, though.
All right.
Oh, yeah. It's
Greg,
a huge hit.
Would you back this?
I think it's a pass for me. I mean, I wouldn't mind playing it at a party where someone has it, but I don't need to own this, personally.
DrGloryhogg.
Well, that's a good question. I would think I would consider getting at the $25 level, I think, just to have another game like this. Because For me personally, I really like this ethical decision. I know I've said it like 900 times, but
Hold on. Do you like ethical
this
decisions?
this is one of my favorite ones. I've used this before, like in my own just real life examples for
Well,
stuff.
this is a riff off of like an old philosophical discussion.
Right, it's like the 1700s.
of like,
or
yeah,
something.
how do you? That's why it's a trolley, right?
Right.
Because it's an old idea that they're kind of having fun
Right.
with.
I think Kid said Sophie's Choice. I think
Yeah.
is what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another good
well,
one.
that's a reference to an older movie as well. Same idea, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's no good answer, but you have to pick the best, worst answer. And I always personally like that. And I like Silent Happiness, so I would not be ashamed to have this game. I don't think it's one that I'd play with the people that are in this room a lot.
Yeah, I'm not in the market as much for these kind of.
Yeah, we just wouldn't invite you to our
loosey-goosey
game nights, Greg, and then we would play with other people.
But there's plenty
so.
of games that I have for different groups of people. Like this one would be a really good game for us to play with the people that we used to do the Uninvited
Yeah,
Gamer podcast
yeah.
because they love that type of humor and they would have a really great time with the
I'm
kind
not
of
saying I
the
wouldn't have fun with
uncensored
it, by the
nature of
way,
it.
but I just don't know if there's. I just.
Did you say you'd back that?
Yeah, I'd back it at the
Yeah.
25,
Okay.
the basic
Yeah,
level
I'd
to
say
play.
for $25, I'd back that.
I do want that stupid mini trolley though.
The
I do. I
trolley's
want the
pretty
I want the
awesome.
mini
What I'm gonna
trolley
have to do
so
is like
bad.
see if I can find a trolley that fell off the back of a truck or something. I don't know if that's a thing. Do I know anybody at Skybound that could help out?
All right, moving on. Ooh, I'm so excited about this
SHASN.
one.
Spoiler alert! She's excited.
SHASN or something.
Oh, I had it down before
I
we
know.
started too. Now I can't remember.
I've said it many times, but I keep forgetting
This
the
is the
exact
this
pronunciation.
is like a seriously intense video.
Ooh, I love this
I
video,
love
guys.
this video.
I was watching this.
They
I was
did
like, is
such a
this-
good job.
I was afraid that this was like an ad because I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm like,
Yeah.
is this an ad or
It
something?
felt like an ad ahead of time.
So this is by, and I don't know how exactly to pronounce the game company. It's like
We can't pronounce
Memesy-
any word
Memesy?
associated with this Kickstarter.
Memesys Culture Lab.
I don't have it in front of me. I don't recall.
And it's for 3 to 5 players. It's going to last about 90 to 120 minutes. And this is a political game that you can play like in 40 BC in Rome, or
Yep.
you can play
Or
it
the
in
future.
2020, yeah, in USA or India, and then in the future was 2040, right?
40, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 2040 in the
2040
future.
is gonna suck hard.
Thanks.
I'm just saying. I'm gonna be
Thanks.
like 50. It's not gonna be great.
I'm gonna be more than 50.
YouTube is. Ugh, YouTube won't exist.
Why will
the
YouTube not exist?
Lots of
video
things change out in like 20
for
years
this
tech.
game played out like a movie in the beginning,
Yeah,
and
this
I loved
opening
it.
video was
And
amazing.
they made the most amazing transition into it right here, where
Yeah.
she starts talking. She's like, "Oh, is it my turn? Oh, sorry." After all this intenseness and everything, and whoever put this together, like this video with
Yeah.
everything in here, was freaking amazing. Like, I loved this video so much. They did everything right. They got me interested immediately in it.
Yep.
They transitioned over to the game like professionals. They showed amazing gameplay with people there, and then boom, they show you the game right here where they
SHASN.
actually look at everything and the pieces and stuff. And-
I think it's SHASN.
From right here, I was like, oh,
SHASN?
dang, I'm going to learn everything about this game. And I started scrolling down. I'm like looking at everything I could on this Kickstarter
Okay.
about this game after just watching this
Right, it grabbed you.
trailer.
Like it's
It
supposed
grabbed
to.
me, yeah, so well with this. And the fact that you're making choices, and then, ooh, the gerrymandering in this, guys. You get to gerrymander, too, your
Okay,
maps.
So your initial
Oh my
impression was
gosh.
very positive.
Yes.
Right.
Did it become more or less positive as you scrolled down
More
and saw what the
positive.
game was about?
More,
Okay.
I got more and more excited by everything as I went down
Yeah.
through here.
This
like,
has a lot of potential for me.
So
I-
I'll give my opinion real quick because it will be very quick. Just like how some people were like insta turned off by Try by Trolley.
Yes.
You tell me we're playing a politic game, I'm out.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a real hard sell to convince me to play this. You'd have to say like, I'll play this. If you play this with me, then we can play Dice Throne after, and then I'd be like, oh, okay. But other than
Just
that, if
because
you don't
it's
bribe
politics.
me, 100%, bro. I can't tell you how much I hate politics.
But-
And that's not because I'm trying to be like, oh, I'm above
But
politics.
even if it's like
I
a
participate.
futuristic sci-fi political game,
Politics are the freaking worst.
okay, no,
They're the,
I
they're
don't.
the worst part of humanity.
I don't.
worst
I
part.
don't disagree with you. But what about
Ugh.
negotiation? Do you like games where you're haggling?
I like
and making
negotiation
deals
because that's
and,
business.
and like and
but I-
teaming up.
The
and
idea of politics, like the stupid rules that we've made to govern ourselves because we can't just live on our own and not be giant beeholes, is just for me is the worst. I hate politics.
Alan is so shocked that he knows what
Oh,
your
no.
pick is for the
Oh,
week.
man.
What do you mean, Alan? I mean, am I that
So,
transparent?
I would want
Oh,
to. I
my.
want to play this first because it's possible it's not as good as it looks. But I like these kinds of games. I played
Huh.
Campaign Trail recently, which is kind of
I
like
want you guys
this.
to have a really good time.
I
Kabuki Kid says, I would feel icky using gerrymandering in a game.
Thank you. Like, right? Like,
no, I
I don't
understand.
wanna
You're just
even-
like, ooh.
But you have
but
to
it makes
let
me
yourself
win.
kind of just play that role.
I don't want to be reminded of how crappy our world is. That's like, yeah.
Now, one of my favorite games that does not get to the table enough is Tammany Hall, and it's the same idea. You're like early 1900s or late 1800s,
That
politicians.
dude picked on the Irish refugees so much. Like, I'm not. Yeah, as
No,
a
but that's
family
the
that
thing.
was Irish refugees,
You
not
have
a
to
fan.
kind of just like if you're playing Memoir 44 or something, you have to be like, well, one player's playing Nazis and one player's playing
That's
America.
a good point. I
You're like,
don't play Memoir 44.
Okay, well, okay.
Too
I like
realistic.
that.
Too real. That's fine that you like
Or
it.
like Secret Hitler. You like Secret
We're
Hitler,
giving our opinions. Yes, I do like that because.
Okay.
God, yeah, that's a good point. I do like Secret
I
Hitler.
think if the game is done
And Mayday, Mayday.
Yeah,
I like that
I think
too.
if the game is done right, you can have fun sort of playing the villain and not taking it too seriously.
I have no problem being the villain though.
Yeah.
The
And
politics
this is much
though.
less
I just,
offensive than something like I could see someone being really turned off by Secret Hitler's theme. This is much more like vague, It's just the idealist or the you're not playing specific parties, you're not
Right.
playing specific
That's better.
historical
I'm
characters.
just worried about
it's
the vibe
futuristic
that this
potentially.
brings. I'm worried about the vibe this brings to your game night. Is this going to be a game that you're like, everyone's like, oh, laughing, having a good time, or at the end of it, everyone's going to be like, cool, I
Well,
hate you now, and we're never going to
No,
hang out
the
again.
core of this is area control with resource management.
Yes.
The core of this is you pick the side of the card that's going to give you the resources you want more. So no one's going to fault you if you choose the pro-slavery side because you just needed a green resource in order to finish the thing you needed. You know what I'm
But
saying?
I would fault me.
Well, I understand. You might have trouble sleeping at night a
Yeah.
little bit.
Too
But you know what
much.
I'm saying? Like, I think they've abstracted it out enough that there's potential for this to be just like a fun negotiation
You know what's
game.
abstract? A magical undead gunslinger. That's abstract.
Okay, hold on. So if this was a fantasy-based game with
Yeah,
kingdoms,
If we were orcs
trying
and
to-
goblins, would it change for you?
yeah, trying to become king, but then they had to be like voted in by like
I mean,
nobles.
think of like Tyrants of the Underdark. You're warring tribes trying to control the kingdom.
How would that
This
make
is
you
the
feel?
This is the same idea.
Hold
I
on,
feel
hold on.
like it's not.
It's kingdom building, but gerrymandering.
I don't like it. Then. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh yes, the Board with Life Skit battle cry. That's funny. They talked about Tammany Hall in one of their episodes. Tammany Hall is a great underrated game. But I like these kind of games with negotiation, like nothing personal, where you're making deals and making trades, and I promise I'll hook you up later if you hook me up now, and like I like playing that kind of stuff. I'm not like that
You
sort
like good critters, right?
of, yeah, it's the same idea. You're playing gangsters. Like I don't know.
But never in good critter. You're battling over loot, and it's very
Yeah, and you're
abstract. There's
screwing
never a
each
time
other
where you're like,
over, or dead
I'm,
last, or
I'm-
Mayday, Mayday.
I'm pro-slavery issues. That feels.
Well, I don't think
just-
they're going to be that specific in this. I could be wrong, but
I would
I
have
don't
to look specifically at all the cards.
But those are social. So here's the thing. Politics
this
is
does have a
different.
social aspect, though.
Politics are different than social and negotiation.
President of the orcs.
Those are
I was
just,
laughing
those
at
are
that
just
too.
different. Those are different categories for me.
No, but-
Negotiation and social games are different than straight up politics.
But this
Oh
has
my
a
gosh.
negotiation element. and
Hold
I
on.
Think what?
Hold on, Orc for President would be a great game. Could you imagine? Like you're like if you
Uh-oh,
can't
they don't
win,
like my microphone again.
if you
Static.
can't win the election as an orc, do you just like knock out the other guy? Do you have like a battle?
Orc 2020.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
You might want to try pulling your mic away a little bit. There you
Okay.
go. Maybe that'll be
Because
better.
you get kind of yelly whenever I disagree with you.
No, I just think your reason for not liking this is weird because you will play other games that are so similar to this and you really dig them. I mean, Mayday Mayday is like politics to the extreme. You know what I mean?
But that's a life or death situation, and
Yeah.
it's all about the social aspect. And even playing as the bad guy, I
Yeah.
didn't feel bad about it. This one, I don't feel like. Here's the difference. I don't feel like I would have fun playing this.
Yeah.
I'd fail to find the fun, as Greg's Hooked on Geek would say. But that's just personal opinion. Like we're not supposed to always have the
No,
same
no, and
ideas.
I'm not trying to talk you into being excited about it. Oh, static clear.
Okay,
Thanks,
so
Alan.
yeah, it's because your mic's too close to your face.
Sorry about
Okay,
that.
also, so Pentry Game says, dude, let's make this game. I'm down with that, okay? Let's
would-
make orcs for president,
Orcs for
okay?
president.
But
I'm
see,
in.
and that's a very good point. That's more interesting. But there you go, battle cry. Politics equal arguments. I don't want that in my game.
your
I don't
game
feel
night.
like
Okay.
politics are fun
What
to
was
play.
the game we just played the other night?
King's Dilemma.
Same thing. It's a fantasy themed thing, but you're going through like real world decisions. But half the time we were making choices that were reprehensible to us as people just because we thought, oh, this will probably be good mechanically in the game. And so I think as long as the game sort of has that separation where people can be like, look, obviously I'm not pro whatever this controversial issue is. I'm just doing this because it's going to help me, take this area. Like, I don't think it's going to turn into fights.
But do you think this one has enough separation?
I do. I think
for
so.
everybody though, because obviously I can't
Well,
separate
not
it
for
already.
everybody. There's some people who will get into they're just aching to get into a
Right.
political
So
fight
last
with
thing I want to
people.
do is bring this to a game night that's going to be in a group like
But
that.
we could play this. I mean, despite the arguing we're doing now, I feel like we could play this and be civil, right?
Well, that's because our political ideologies are similar.
Probably.
But if you're playing with somebody whose ideologies are vastly different than yours, which we know people like that, obviously, I'm not going to say names.
I'm not gonna say names either, but one of the people
I don't know if I want to play that
one
with.
of the people I'm thinking of, I played Campaign Trail with, right? And we have, I think, very different politics, and it was fine because it was that game as well as abstracted out enough where it's like, hey, I'm just doing this thing because I need to take over this area.
All right, so let me think. What's the most cutthroat game we've probably played?
Well,
Oh, we played some serious
games like
cutthroat
Blood Rage
games.
and stuff. I mean, those kinds of games. Just
Blood
straight
Rage.
up-
Blood
straight up
Rage.
combat
Blood Rage
games.
was definitely a
Blood
very
Rage is area
tight
control.
game. But that game got so mad that I actually got mad at her for a while.
That's not like
I played Attack
making
Wing. It
choices
made me
though.
really mad.
There's no negotiation in those games. This is more like Tammany Hall or Nothing Personal.
I-
They're kind of in
There's
that
other
bucket of
games that can upset you in that way. It's just the people that you're playing with, I think.
If you right now or even later think of a game that I've played that you think would be similar to this that I've enjoyed, I would be interested to know. I'm not saying I wouldn't try it, but man, this one I would only try playing it with like maybe us, maybe our friend Alex and your wife. That's it.
Yeah.
A small group. I would never play this like at a
That's
game
five
night.
players, that's
But that group is all like jokey enough that I think it would probably be
I think
okay.
you're eating your mic now, maybe.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah, maybe a loose wire. Check
I
your
keep
connection.
checking mine. I think
Put
it's
it together.
Yeah.
I don't play diplomacy either. I've never played
Well,
diplomacy,
diplomacy is way long.
but I
too.
typically try to stay out of games that I know for sure are going to cause arguments for
I
the
agree.
sake of
I
arguments.
agree. I agree. By the way, my hope with this one, and it is sort of a try before you buy, despite the fact that I somehow landed in this like very defensive stance with it. But my hope with this one is that it would be abstracted out enough, and that's the feeling I got from looking at this campaign, is that people would be like, oh, okay, you're just doing that because you need the red resource or the green resource. We don't actually have to actually fight about who should be the next candidate or whatever in like a real political party in order to play this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The whole point of this game, or the whole point of this show, really, is to give our opinions
Yeah.
about things. And I'm just going to say, I am not sold on this. This is 100% a pass for me. But
Not even tempted to try it. Like
I would-
you're confident it would just be too divisive.
obviously, if she's like, "Hey, I want to play this game," when I play it, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
I play any game with her at least once. But this is not something I would ever.
Oh, that's
If I
so
saw
nice
you guys-
of you.
if-
You would
If this
play
was being
any
played at a game too, and they said, "Hey, DrGloryhogg, do you want to play SHASN with us? It's a political game." I'd be like, "Nope, cool. I would rather sit on my phone and play like Pokemon Go or something." Like I would just pass, hard pass.
Yeah, no, I because of my fondness for games like Tammany Hall. And
You do
stuff,
like more political games, though.
I don't think I'm that political. Like
No.
I'm not a political buff. I'm not like, oh, I'm really keeping up with exactly who's stance on every issue or whatever. But I like games with negotiation. I like games where you have alliances and you backstab and you know what I mean, that kind of stuff.
But see, like I'm okay with that because I played plenty
like
of games
Game
like
of
that.
Thrones or something like that. you
I
know
love
what
Listen,
Game of
you can
Thrones.
play the
Great game.
trolley murder game instead, okay? And then we'll
you
play
can
the.
run over babies and kiddie pools.
That's right. That's right. And then we'll play the political game.
No, I want this to be good. This has the potential, I think, to be really slick, and I'm potentially very excited about
This one
Well,
here.
you should potentially buy it then.
it. I might potentially back it.
will Greg,
Although,
will
I
Greg
wish-
actually back something?
I wish it would play too, though. That
Stay
was one
tuned.
turnoff for me because I do feel like area control games are trending that way with games like Glux and Blue Lagoon and Tyrants of the Underdark. Like more and more, there's games that prove that you can do area control with 2 well, and so I'm always disappointed when an area control game is 3 and up because I know that generally that's better for an area control style game to have kind of more people jockeying for the space at a table. But I wish they'd find a way to kind of scale this so that it would work with 2 because that's definitely a big turnoff for me. I play 2 more than anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. You can see right now that our comments are just not hitting YouTube. Period. Just beeps. Sorry. Sorry, no YouTubes. We
Yeah,
love you, YouTube.
sorry. Sorry, YouTube.
But yeah, but for obviously Greg is.
Is it
Are you on the
better?
fence still?
I'm still a little bit on the. It's kind of a try before you buy, but it has the potential to be so cool. I really
Okay,
want this to
this
be
is
as good as it looks like it could be.
this is $59
It's
from
not cheap either. Yeah.
from the trailer of it to running down with all the stuff. 100% into this game.
Oh,
like
wow,
I
okay.
love area control games. I love the fact that
Me
it's a
too.
political based game. You're trying to do like some wheeling and dealing. You're trying to like make the other opponent kind of look bad. Like I'm super excited about that. Best worst
worst
two-player
nego-
All right,
negotiation
Gilbert.
game. Thanks.
Merit.
Touche.
Thanks.
Touche. It is because when
So
you
she's the
it-
most in. I'm in the middle, and you're like way out.
Yeah,
on
I'm
this
just
one.
out. Like I said, I would play. I'm always willing to play a game because I try not to be that person who's like, I would never play that.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same
But
way.
but there's games that I'm not excited about. Like I'm not excited about what's it Twilight Imperium just because of
really?
how long it is.
Yeah,
But doesn't mean like I wouldn't try it once and just to say I've done
kind
it.
of
But
a bucket list.
but
game.
it's but like the length of it
Well,
really makes
diplomacy
me
was
like
the same
not
way.
excited.
I played it once, so I could say I played diplomacy, but I don't. I wouldn't mind having those 10 hours back.
Kabuki Kid says the art style's kind of creepy, and I think it's kind of set up that way to be
I think it's supposed to
a
be
sort of like
kind of dystopic.
right,
Kind of
exactly.
almost. I mean, only one of the scenarios is technically set in the future, but I think it's supposed to be
I-
in like a
I think everybody's
sort of dystopic world.
on the dice thrown wagon now.
Yeah,
They're like,
it's
let's do it.
dice
Okay,
thrown,
all
but
right.
it's
Would you back
cooperative.
that?
Moving on.
Would you back that?
I'm on the fence a little bit, but this is the one of the group that I'm most excited about.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds
Yes.
me of Fog of Love, which we played, and we were just like, yeah, not for us. I feel like this is going to have those same types of feelings where you're like, this is not a game that we enjoy
The
because of the
expansion
theme.
divorce is battle cry.
I like
or divorce expansion.
I say that this is a back for me. I like the fact that you can play it in 3 different eras. I think that's really interesting because especially if you don't want
That
to play it
helps.
in 2020, you can
Ugh.
go move into 2040 and be like, all right, now we're in this
Yeah.
totally futuristic era. Or you can go, nope, we're going back to like the Roman times, you know, when like the political stuff is just starting to really get intriguing and blossom and stuff. And so if you don't want to play it in that, just recently campaign's right around the, corner, like